Yo, what's happening, people? So you're back with your boy LJ Maydem. We are out here making it happen. We're here with my bro, Ryan,
you know
gym partner. We've been discussing conversations whilst we've been in the gym. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we just record this, bro? You know what I mean? Instead of like just having the conversations and not letting people in on it. You know what I mean? Especially the topics we be talking about. We're talking about God, we're talking about marriage, we're talking about relationship, like a lot of things that are happening in current society that I don't think we tend to talk about. You know, we go towards more entertainment than we do over the realistic attitudes that we should have over life. You know what I mean? We go to these fantasy lives not realizing what are the lives that we really truly need to be living in order to be thriving. You know what I'm saying? As God's children, what are we supposed to do over what we want to do? And yeah, bro, what were we talking about earlier? We were talking about marriage, right?
Pretty much. Obviously, I guess, if anything, this current generation especially, what people even thinking about marriage, the way relationships are sort of like built, you know, core values, you know, obviously people's wants and needs.
What have you kind of experienced? I think the topic we're going to touch on today is like specifically marriage, because I think in this current day and age, we get so misconstrued on what a relationship is that we don't realize that we as you know, as Christians, we go, oh, we can't fornicate until marriage. And the thing is, in our society, we already realize that, you know, fornication is a massive thing. Like, yo, let's out beat these cheeks, you know what I'm saying? Let's go get these girls, you know, let's go put our pom-pom online for $4.99, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that is promoted. That is looked on in, you know, not necessarily in a positive light, but more so in an acceptable light. And like, for us, I think it's hard because we're trying to find women that we want to marry, right? We're trying to be better men. Like, I know I've struggled when it comes to like, especially when it comes to girls, you know what I'm saying? It's so easy to get strayed off past, but what are the experiences that you've had that have kind of like, led you to your conclusions in life?
If anything, it's just basically a mix of like, you know, being young and not knowing what I wanted, and experiencing obviously other people obviously not knowing what they want. So essentially, I think people today, especially when they're young, they tend to get into relationships just for the sake of it. You know, obviously speaking and going on to fornication, especially, you know, people enjoy sex, right? And I feel like one of the main sort of sources for relationships is really just that comfort and that sort of sexual comfort as well.
I think we seek that so much, innit?
Exactly, and there's a lot of core values, there's a lot of core things that are missing in relationships today, which is why obviously you see a lot of relationships sort of ending within a year or so. You know, people serial dating especially, you know what I'm saying? So people don't really see the long-term sort of longevity when it comes to sort of like getting into a relationship, the future, building stability, not just emotionally, not just, you know, in terms of like what your core values are for the future, but like money as well, you know.
It's funny because, you know what I realized, like, people think so much about relationships, right? We think so much about love and the fantasy of finding someone who's your soulmate, your other half, etc. But I've realized, even in my own story and my own journey with relationships, it's like we get into these things not realizing we're not ready. We're not ready financially, we're not ready spiritually, we're not ready mentally, physically, emotionally. And we lack so many different things in our lives that are supposed to equate to a successful marriage, right? And like, especially finances. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
10 wings, Louisiana and mango.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, we ordered some wild wings.
Yeah, how much people watch my boy?
This is basically a mukbang. He's on his cheat day, innit? I mean, you can have some, bro.
Shit, I might have one, you know what I'm saying? I'm on a liquid diet.
All right,
you know
mango habanero is there, right there, bro.
Obviously, my favorite wing right here. Might as well obviously try it just for the sake of it, just for the video.
I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this one here. This is what is this? Louisiana rub?
Yeah, I reckon.
This is the Louisiana rub.
And this is the mango habanero. This is gonna bang.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go. Shit.
Alright, bro, this is fucking juiced on me, bro.
Of course, I already know this shit slaps, but bro, the flavors are intense.
Oh, this is a bit salty, bro.
See, this is the thing about me when it comes to like these type of wings.
Yeah, bro.
They be overly flipping seasoning it to the point where it's like just bare sodium in your mouth and shit.
Yeah, bro. This is I guess this counts as a podcast mukbang now, bro.
Technically.
Bro, it's what it is, isn't it?
Shit, you gotta talk serious.
But yeah.
But you gotta enjoy it as well.
You gotta enjoy it. But yeah, that's what I was saying. I think the funny thing is, like when I was in my last relationship, I was so lost, bro. Like I was so lost. Obviously reflecting back from now and seeing who I was then, it's like, yo, that younger version of me had no idea what he was getting himself into. You know what I mean? He had no idea that. Nasty.
I guess you didn't really have a core idea of what you wanted. Bro. It was more or less just getting into a relationship because you lusted over the girl.
Yeah, man.
And
the thing is, but the funny thing is, it was that, but then it was a genuine feeling of love.
Of course.
But the ignorance of a child, almost the ignorance of a young man who thought he knew it all. Like my ego was far greater than my logic. My arrogance was far greater than my reasoning. You know what I'm saying? And my connection to God was so far than what it is now that it was never going to be able to thrive in that environment that I was in. Yeah, no, take some, bro. And that's what I've realized. I've noticed that's like we tend to go into the direction of sin because a lot of the time we're ignorant, bro. And only since I started reading my Bible and started like actually praying to God is like the things that I had problems with for so many years of my life started getting resolved. The problems with anger, the problems with financial, literacy, all started to fix themselves because, well, they didn't fix themselves. It was because God was guiding me in the direction that I needed to go. And the thing is, those are such fundamental things, just those two things. You know what I mean? Having a spiritual side, an emotional side with God, and like a financial responsibility to yourself. Like when I was in a relationship, I had no money, you know?
I guess it just speaks volumes into like why it's so important. Because obviously if you're dating with the objective to marry, there's so many aspects of yourself that you got to work on and so many things you got to sort of consider when selecting the person you're trying to obviously be with long term, right? And people are just very, very focused on that feeling you have for that person at that moment.
It's wrong though.
And a lot of relationships are really based on that sort of initial infatuation. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I have such strong feelings for this person.
Yeah.
I'm in love.
Yeah.
Love is such a deeper term. There's so many connecting factors to love. It's not just the feeling. It's what you respect about that person.
It's a choice, bro.
The choice as well, indeed.
Literally,
it's something you work upon as well. You build love. You don't just feel it.
And the thing is, love is kind. Love is understanding. Love is patient. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know any of this, bro. I was so blind in my head, thinking that I knew it all, that my feelings are the ones that needed to be listened to. My feelings are the ones that needed to be heard. But not considering the person that I'm supposed to love.
Being able to compromise.
Exactly. And also, not even that, but like, doing things wrong, bro. Like I did things wrong. You know, I was not accountable for the actions that I had. I wasn't accountable for my anger, bro. I had crazy anger issues, and then, like me and Ryan have also, we've been through periods of our life where anger has just been, a prominent part of not being able to connect to your true self. And at points in your life, it can be a good defense mechanism. I'm not gonna lie, like defense, when you're angry, it's helped me when I was a kid. But not realizing when you get to an age where you're an adult, there's relationships involved, there's love involved, there's a woman involved. You can't have that same kind of anger, that violence, that frustration, that fury that you have inside you. Because what happens is you end up living in your past. You're not living in the moment, understanding what you need to do and what your responsibility is as a man to be able to provide, to be able to nurture, to be able to look at your wife with admiration because she cares for you and you care for her. A lot of the time I feel like we enter these relationships not realizing the amount of effort and persistence and genuine love that you need to put into it. And we just get in because it feels good. It feels good to have sex. It feels good to have someone who's on your side, cooks you food, rah, rah, rah. But then when you don't put that solidified name on it, especially with God, which is marriage, putting a ring on that woman's finger and wait until your marriage day. I wish I had done that. I wish I had actually understood what it meant to be in a relationship and marry the woman that I was with. But because I didn't understand that, that's what happened. That basically what happened was everything fell apart. Because I'm living in a devil's lie. I'm living, you can fornicate without commitment. And not the commitment, like, yeah, you're committed and you're doing your thing that you're with that one person, but you're not married. And God doesn't see it as that. You know what I'm saying? And then you're making all these choices. You're making these decisions. Like, bro, I moved into the girl's house with her family. And I'm telling you guys, don't do that shit. Not that it's like, I get it. It's comfort. But don't do it, bro. And especially men, don't do it. Women, I also suggest definitely don't do it. But men in particular, we should have our own crib before we bed with a woman and marry a woman.
It just speaks volumes, and like making sure that you're at a secured sort of like settlement for yourself. You know, it's not to say that you can't get into a relationship here. You know, whilst being on your journey.
Oh yeah, 100%.
No one's saying you have to be perfect, but you know, there's certain things that we just gotta focus on, especially when you know you're not sort of like at that stable route. If you don't even have that, if you're not even on that route, period, your focus should not be in a relationship. Like, no one's saying, oh shit, you gotta be having the biggest yard, or like, no one's even saying you gotta have a yard, period.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
But even independency.
Exactly. Like, are you on that route to being independent?
And I'm telling you.
Are you building that sort of resource for yourself? Some people just be getting to things, with no plan for their future and without registering what that future might be for the person you're with. You know what I'm saying? Who you end up with, because...
And I say this right now, like, don't date for potential, innit? I realized I was a young man with potential, but potential is a fantasy at the end of the day. You know? Reality is where you are and what you're doing and what your actual position in life is. For me, even I made a video yesterday and I was like, bro, I'm not in the place that I need to be. I'm not the man that I want to be yet. You know?
But when you say...
and that's now. So imagine 2 years ago. Yeah, what are you saying? Sorry.
I was going to say, like, when you say, like, not to date for potential, do you mean, like, so not to date, not to basically get with someone who is not where they're meant to be? Or rather...
I think it's more so the person who's looking at the person with potential as...
But there's no clear sign of work being made.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even if there is, it's like, how, because I think this is why they always tell you, like, everyone tells you, wait until you feel comfortable wholeheartedly in yourself as an individual. When you feel so hard, like you feel so driven as an individual to do what you need to do as a person, and you succeeded in this way. You have your own crib, you have your own career, you're thriving with God. You know, you're understanding your responsibility as an adult. You pay your own bills. You understand what car you want to drive, and you've got it. So when you're at that point, that's the reality. That's the actual place you're at. But when it's the potential, it's the impression that you're going to be there. But the fact is you're not. And that's why I say like, from where I am, like, bro, when I was in a relationship, I was clueless. And obviously, you know, every 20-year-old, you're clueless, bro. Early 20s to mid 20s, bro, you can still be super clueless. And like, love is love. And infatuation is also a part of that. But don't get lost in infatuation, I see. You know? Infatuation, it's scary, bro, because once you do something that you love, you realize where you actually are, everything crumbles. That potential you thought you had crumbles because it's not your real life. It's your potential. It's the idea that you have it. But it's not the reality that you have it, you know? And I suggest that to everyone. It's like, don't fall up on that. You know, don't lose yourself in your potential. Find yourself in your success, you know?
I guess it's more than just like, you know, obviously what you've built for yourself economically. It's also like mindset as well. So, you know, we tend to deal with a lot of people that are lacking in like emotional maturity,
emotional
stability,
health,
just a lack of planning for their future as well. People that are just there, you know. Just people that haven't grown up in a way where it's like, you know, you can come towards a compromise. You know what I'm saying?
I think,
like, Because at the end of the day, a relationship isn't just based on feelings, as we've mentioned.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it's not just based on infatuation. It's based on being able to build each other up and sort of like root each other's root together and hold each other's hand on that journey together. Grow to, you know, self-growth and growing as partners, you know. And some people just aren't on that sort of like
Even me, man. Like, I think that's the craziest thing, is because I was purely in this state of mind where I thought I knew it all. You know what I'm saying? Like you think that you've succeeded by taking one step, not realizing your success is 20 steps away, 18 steps away, 19 steps away. But you're rewarding yourself early. And I realized it's effort. Marriage shouldn't be taken lightly. That's a choice. That's the woman that you should be with for the rest of your life. And you know, when you squander it and you allow yourself to almost believe your lie that this is what I want, without putting the effort, it will destroy not just your own perception of what love is, marriage is, but the other person's. Because now they're like, but we spent all this time together. And the thing is, it's all real. It's all real. The emotions and the feelings and the thoughts and the love, it's all real. But because it's not solidified by anything with God, it can't be real. It can't, because you can't thrive. Because God's not nurturing that relationship. You know? And God's not there to like guide you guys on the way. And that's what God wants. But we've been tricked by all the principalities of this world, the evilness of this world. And it's just like, we see all these people lost, scared, accepting of lust, accepting of all the cruelties out there in the world, you know? And we don't realize that we're being cruel to ourselves when we're not initiating that true connection that we want. We want it, we all want love, but we're not doing it the right way. And there is a right way. You know what I'm saying? It's just that we've chosen to go a way which makes us feel easier. That gives us an easy way out.
I guess when you think about it though, it's like, considering the amount of like godless people that are currently existing in the world today, there are a lot of relationships, or rather marriages, thriving that are quite godless. So it's like, I guess the question is like, how do these things, how does that even normally work, if anything? But I guess another question would also be like, how was those relationships formulated? Like, is it all based on an environment? Like, normally these godless relationships, or rather relationships in general, are they thriving because they're not in certain environments which are damaging to your minds? And it's like,
well, I think what I've seen is it's trauma, isn't it? What we know is what we see.
How we're nurtured,
like
what we see on TV.
Well, I think it's not just that. I think it's mostly what you see in your day-to-day life. Your parents,
relationships,
your family, your family. That really, I'm telling you now, that's what really defined a lot of my relationship qualities. I'm not putting full blame on it, because it's also my own choice. But for what I was doing when I was in my last relationship, it was purely out of what I thought I knew. And my reaction and my perspective was that, oh, I can do what I want. A woman's gonna love me however I treat her. Because I had seen that in my family growing up. Not noticing that my family's dynamic is actually way worse than I thought. It's not the right method of relationship that should be enacted. And I was seeing that for years. And I was like, oh yeah, that's normal. Not realizing I'm not following the godly path, I'm following the path of people who commit to sin. And I was like, rah. I just followed the whole damn thing. And the thing is, I didn't notice that during it. It was only after it had ended. Only after all of the things that I had done had already been finished and completed. But it's tricky, because we live in a world where we're told that it's okay, you can do that. No, that's fine. You make mistakes. But we're not truly telling ourselves how to fix those mistakes. We're just saying that it's okay to make mistakes. We're not reflecting. Like, a lot of us don't reflect.
I guess one of the biggest questions here then is like, Because at the end of the day, I guess you only really came to this realization the older you got. Because obviously, the older you get, more wisdom sort of comes through, through life experiences. So then, for me, really, would it be wiser to maybe wait till you're older?
Oh yeah.
Before jumping into anything serious?
I don't think
should you sort of like live your life?
Yeah, go on.
Thing is, everyone has their own ways of living a life. At the end of the day, obviously, the real way, if anything, is the godly way. You know what I'm saying? Some people like to get sort of certain aspects of their life out of their system. Their childish ways, dating recklessly, I guess. Obviously, that all comes through immaturity and,
This is the maddest one, bro. I see the way you're doing that, bro. I was like, no, I was eating this mad. I was trying to rib him up, but it wasn't working. But I was like, no, it's looking a bit sad.
But I guess the question for me is really like, should we, if we're trying to like really get into something serious and like we know that we want something serious in the future, would it be a lot more efficient if we waited till we were like maybe 27 or in our 30s?
I think it's better when you're serious about your life. That's when I think it's most plausible for you to enter a relationship. In the sense that if you feel like you're doing what you need to do in your life, you feel connected to God, you have financial responsibility, you have emotionally healed a lot of the traumas that you've had from your past, from your childhood, from your youth, from your family, whatever. You've physically gotten yourself to a place that you feel comfortable with. You look in the mirror, you feel confident. You look at your bank account, you feel like secure. You have a home that you can go to that's your own. And you have, you don't necessarily need a car, but you have some sort of means of being able to transport yourself from A to B. Right. I think that's the best time. And that tends to be later down in life. Because, when I'm 22 to 25, I'm still playing video games. Like, that's not real life though. That's again, it's a fantasy. It's not real, but it gives you a false sense of achievement. And so does relationships which aren't centered around God. It's like you've done it, but you've not really done it until you put that ring on the girl's finger and you say, that's my wife. And that's like, the funny thing is, I wouldn't have ever thought I'd be able to say something like that, but no, I want a wife. I want my woman to be comfortable when she comes home.
It's because in a general aspect, relationships today, people are not dating to marry. It's not to say that they don't want to get married.
No, yeah, exactly.
But marriage isn't. It isn't aligned with that relationship. It isn't aligned with their future because they're not thinking about the future. People just get into relationships because it feels good, because of that initial spark feeling. You know what I'm saying? And
the thing is, relationships feel great. It's cool.
They feel amazing, bro.
It's amazing, but at the end of the day, are you where you need to be? As an
person
individual,
you're with, is that the right person?
Is that the right person? Because if you're not where you need to be, it'll be so much harder to find out who you're meant to be with.
And you're going to be constantly getting with the wrong people because the people that you actually want, or rather the people that are aligned for you, you're not ready for that person.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be looking at you.
Yeah.
They're going to be getting with the people that are ready.
Yeah, because they're in their, like, you've got to think about it. It's like, it's stages, isn't it? It's stages of life where we're so blind right now because, we've got our own problems. But imagine, like, you want to be with a partner that is 100%. You can't be with that partner if you're 70. You're 70% there. You're 80% there.
And they can sense it.
They can sense it, right?
They can sense it.
They know what they know what your convictions are. They know how you look at yourself in the mirror because your aura and your spirit will be telling that.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I can quite literally visualize the type of woman that I want.
Yeah,
in fact, I see them very rarely though, because most of the time they're either inside.
Rare,
they've been married off.
Yeah.
They don't go out.
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to be seeing them in clubs.
Yeah.
You're not going to be seeing them in all these mad events. You know what I'm saying? And when you do see them, the energy levels,
it's insane.
Comparing yours to theirs, it's like they're a giant and you're
there.
It's not to say that they're better than you.
No, it's not. It's just that their spirit is more content with who they are.
And they've risen up at such a level. You're not there yet.
But that's the thing, like, I think once you're content and actually you understand yourself more, you have a more fluid understanding of who you want to be. You're not stuck in a certain place. When I say fluid, I mean it in the sense that you can ebb and flow. you can pivot. You can decide whether this works or this doesn't work. Whether you can react, you want to react with anger, or you want to react with kindness. You know what I'm saying? When you get to that point and you're like, you know what, I'm good, bro. People sense that. People sense that you don't care about what they say or where you're going. Don't matter, bro. And the thing is, we live in a great time to be self-discovered. Especially with God, bro. There's so many outlets that we could go seek, but we choose not to. Because why? We've been told that our own interests are more important.
People are thinking about the now. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy today, think about tomorrow, in 2 days or a week or a month's time. You know what I'm saying? Like, before you know it, you're fucking 35 and you've been thinking about your today.
What I'm saying. Yeah, bro.
All this time and your future is just basically just gone behind you, bro.
Gone.
And next thing you know, like, you got like 5 years left to your 40, and like you got to restart. You got to restart building that future
and
again.
That's the thing. It's like we start now. If we start, I think this is why I wanted to make videos like this, because young people, especially young guys, we're stuck. We're not forced to do anything.
We're too comfortable.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're not forced to do anything.
It's very interesting as well, because like, I guess it's very much sort of like environment. It's very much also, I think it's definitely country-based as well. Like, there's sort of systems and systematic aspects that we sort of like, we digest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched the video where people were saying how, when it comes to like, you know, boosting businesses and collaborations and working together, America's on a different level. That's why they're all so successful. You see all these young people just like, you know what I'm saying, wearing the maddest expensive chains.
The thing is, we've got so many easy ways out. You know, you get finance, you can get all this, you know what I mean, you get all these options that you get to pick. You know what I'm saying? All these outlets free. And the thing is, we don't take that time knowing, realize nothing's free, bro. Nothing in this life is free because we're not forced to do anything. But
at the end of the day, though,
crazy thing is,
if anything, we do have to hold ourselves accountable.
That's it, though.
You know what I'm
saying? We have to hold ourselves. Yes, we're not forced to do anything, meaning that you have to force yourself to do something. That means something.
It's just a shame. As I was mentioning, obviously with America, like, they're so ready to help each other and boost each other, boost themselves up. That's why you see so many young people with like the maddest businesses. But this community in England,
I think it's also
London especially.
I think it's just oversaturated here, bro. And there's enough pressure, stress, you know, and we don't like again. We lack guidance from God. We lack, and that's why a lot of people are scared. Anxiety, fear, depression, because we don't know what we're doing. We don't know who we are. We don't know what our purpose is. And imagine, of course, that's going to give you fucking stress and pressure and anxiety. Because it's like we ain't got no clue. There's no navigation for us. So when you ain't got no navigation, you go around in circles over and over and over again. You loop yourself. Your brain goes into a state of, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to do the same thing. Because that's what I know, that's what I'm comfortable with. Instead of forcing yourself out of that habit, forcing yourself out of that sequence of things that you continue to do to put you in that position.
I guess this is also why it's really important to like really sort of take into account what your environment sort of, what is within your environment, the type of friends you're around, the media digesting, so social media, what pages you're following, the advice you're taking from people, you know, it's all that builds up your future at the end of the day. And like, if these are things that you're continuously, if these negative things are the main sort of the sources of information that you're digesting, of course your future's going to be fucked. And of course, getting married is going to be fucking.
And exactly,
you know
it's going to be even further away of an objective, because these are all the things you're missing out on for you that you need to accomplish for yourself. We always look at marriage and like being in a relationship and love and finding your partner as it's a grandiose thing. But realistically, it's a side effect. It's not the main solution, or, you know what I mean, to resolve problems. It's a side effect. The main thing is sort your life out. Be close with God. Figure out what career and purpose that you want to have. Figure out how you're going to save income, how you're going to change what your family's been doing for the last how many ever years. Because a lot of the time we're just following what we know. And sometimes you have to do something completely different to what your family been doing. Because if they ain't in the place where they're supremely wealthy, or they're not in that spiritually like soft place with God, then you got to do something different for your entire lineage, everyone. And like you were saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, our families have been stuck in loops for generations. They've never seen how to live in a means of comfort without having stress and pressure. And like, the thing is, there's keys. And sometimes it's just like we have to put in that effort to force ourselves
to change that story.
To change, and it's hard and it's boring. And it's like you feel like you can't do it because you ain't got the tools. But the only tool you have to do is taking that step, and we don't admit that because it's easier to say than it is to do.
Because you're quite literally,
you know what I mean?
It's like basically like recoding a set code for a system.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And changing all aspects of it. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been born with that sort of blueprint, and you've got to redesign the whole plan.
And that's it. There's a blueprint that got us to the point we are now. Fine. It worked for what it needed it to work. But when we are looking towards marriage, when we're looking towards finding love, when we're looking to finding inner peace, you know what I mean? We have to do something different on the next blueprint that allows the generation after us to really benefit. That means our children, our grandchildren. Because I'm like, yo, I don't want my child to grow up how I did, going through the pain that I've suffered. I don't want my child to have to hear their family member like stressed and complaining because their life isn't the way they wanted it to end up. No, I want to be a role model.
Of course.
I want to be a man that actually knows how to provide.
I'll be thinking about my future, my kids especially, like how their future's gonna be, how I'm gonna set them straight, how I'm gonna build that stability for them, how I'm gonna be that role model. It's something that impounds on my head every single day, and like, you know,
because it's a real thing as well. That is how you act now is how they feel later.
Exactly.
You know? You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, we might have to put in more work than the other guys around us. But maybe our kids are gonna be less stressed and anxiety, have less emotional problems because we put in more work for ourselves than the other fathers. You know what I'm saying? Maybe my work now is gonna help my family right now. That they haven't seen help ever. Maybe it's up to me. Maybe it's you know what, maybe it's up to me. Maybe they can't handle it. But that's fine. If it's on my plate and God says, you know, you're capable of doing it, then yo, I can do it. Because God's saying, look, it's on there, you can do it, just do it. But a lot of the time, because of those old habits, those old things that we've been taught, those traditions almost, we're scared, we're frightened, and then what happens is the opportunity disappears from us and it skips a generation. Because now the generation after is affected by your loss. And then the children of their children, that's when they see what has happened. They see the generational effect again, and then trauma repeats itself. So I'm like, no man, I ain't letting that trauma continue.
We got to be the reason that our family changes our fucking story, bro.
Our story needs to be different. Why? Because we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to God. Our children, our future spouse, man. Like, I don't want my wife to be like feeling stressed when she gets home, or fearful that we're not going to be able to keep a roof over our head, or worried that our finances aren't going to be able to take care of this and that. We can't pay for food. No, I don't want that, bruv. No one wants that. Literally, no one wants that. But we don't realize what we're doing right now is affecting how that turns out later down the line. You know? And we stress. Of course we stress, but what kind of stress do you want? You know?
I guess the everyday is sort of like I know.
Do you want hardship because
Not
of
hardship.
hard work, or do you want hardship because of regret that you didn't put any hard work in, because you didn't choose to make that choice when it was supposed to be made? You know what I mean? And God gives you opportunities. I've realized that. God gives
We
you
miss them.
opportunities, and we miss
people.
them
People miss them every
single day. Guys, we took a little break there, so that's why.
Can't add to
But
the
yeah,
toilet, bro.
Bro, I got a box on my wings, stop. But yeah, man, what were you saying? Opportunities, bro. You know, I think sometimes it's like you need to learn to take the opportunity that
Make sure not to miss them.
Yeah, bro.
When you
because
see them.
You gotta think of it in the sense of like once you get to a certain age, you ain't got that time back. You don't get that time back.
Time just be flying, bro.
You know, it can either be your family ends up in misery. You know what I mean? Your wife is afraid to talk to you because you ain't sorted out your emotional issues. You got anger issues. You guys don't have money to pay for things. Imagine that, like that's stressful.
So
It puts you in so much pain and think like far worse than any hard effort will put you in right now. But like yeah, I think my conclusion is take that opportunity when it's there, because we don't get them often, and God gives them, and He'll give you a purpose with it. But once it's gone, sometimes He can't use you for that same purpose anymore. He'll repurpose you for something else, but it's not the thing that was meant exactly for you in that time.
this is why they're saying God first. Such an important statement.
Yeah.
God
Amen.
first with everything.
God is good.
You know what I'm saying?
All the time.
The first point of structuring your life for your destiny, for your marriage to come to play, for the right woman to come through, is to put God first. And He will align that structure for you. And you'll just have to walk through it. You know what I'm saying? He will hold your hand as you're doing it too. You know what I'm saying? So, but this all comes with making a choice and wanting to build that structure rather than just living a life on improvisation.
On improvisation and on your own ideology. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when it comes to you thinking that you know everything, that you have all the keys, all the ideas, all the success, like that's when you truly start to lose what your real purpose is for. You know what I mean? Because you're idolizing yourself. And to idolize yourself is putting yourself to death in a sense, because you're not realizing there's other things that God had planned for you that are meant for you. But because you think you know everything that you should do, you lose that. You know? And like, I don't want people to lose that. I certainly don't want it to be any of us to lose that passion for God, because bro, I didn't even know that was what I needed. I didn't even know it was God that, because from here to 2 years ago, I would never imagined I would have been here. 2 years ago, I thought I would have been just same old fat pot belly boy, running around, no idea of what to do, where to go, no job, no career, no traveling. Imagine, but God let me do everything.
What you saying, Mark? You good, yeah? All good, bro.
Listen, yeah, and God put me in great places, man, and like I'm so grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I want to be in a position where I look at my woman and I'm like, oh, yo, this is from God. Not because, oh, I think I know best. No, because this is what it's meant to be, you know what I mean? Because I trusted that.
A little bit.
Mad, didn't it?
Little
Got
technical difficulties.
Technical difficulty, chicken wing and wind.
Oh,
But yeah, no, but
man.
it's all good.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
calm.
spilled on you.
July period and we're experiencing these.
Bro, this is
fucking
July,
weathers.
bro.
What the hell, bro?
Fucking,
What
we
the
should
hell?
be hot weather. Let me put this inside. Here, I can still talk. Yeah, say what you're saying. Say what you're saying, though. You surmise yours thing.
Quite literally, if anything, the basis of obviously finding the right person, from my understanding, is to plan, to structure, and to build. Because if those three things aren't in place, you're just going to be day in. And speaking about your life in particular as well, your life ain't gonna have any coordination, you know what I'm saying? So if there's no coordination in your life, how are you gonna find that coordination to build a perfect relationship to then end up with a perfect marriage? And then it's not to even say, I feel like the term perfect in itself is something you shouldn't even use, because there's no such thing as perfect. But if you're trying to build something which you don't want to regret, or rather you want to build something which you know has become fruitful, there has to be that structure, that plan.
And that's,
there has to be those core values which you've got to build up and to want in the person you're looking for.
I think one key thing is learning, like, out of all of this is like, learn how to love. Love yourself, love what you want to do, love how you want to be kind to yourself,
let God love you.
And let God love you, bro. Because ultimately that's what he wants. He wants you to be a loving husband. Like, there's a literally loving husband, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I want to be. Like, we're still building, we're still young men, but like, I feel like the direction I'm trying to go with God is the best direction for me in terms of living fruitfully. You know what I mean? Because no other way is gonna get you where you want to be. I'm sorry, but I don't think there's any other way.
You're going in circles.
Circles. Fearing that this is happening, you're stressed, you're worried, you're fearing everything. And fear and anxiety isn't from God. Just remember that. It's from the enemy.
Most definitely.
So figure it out, man. We'll all figure it out eventually. We'll continue to do more episodes, and as we develop and as we grow and as we get more answers from God. But I think what we'll do, we'll wrap it up there.
Facts on facts.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining the podcast. I don't know whether I'm doing it under Blessings to Lessons or whether I'm doing a new show, but we'll just say this is the first episode of something new. But yeah, guys.
I mean, shit, it's my first episode, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be more to come.
You get me?
My boy Ryan here. We were just like, fuck it, let's go record. So we're out here recording, and it's already happening. So this is another step.
This is a clear example of adding structure to our life.
Adding structure to our life, just like planning it.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? Do something fun, do something engaging, creative, fruitful, bro. And guys, do that too. Anyways, peace from your boy LJ Maydem. Thank you so much for tuning in.
It's been lit.
Check out the next one, and I'm gonna see you on the beast.